Welcome to the GCN Tech Show.
This week we've got a super fast thru axle, the Bikevolt, your upgrades, and even more of the biggest tech flops of all time.
A couple of weeks ago, we did an episode on the greatest tech flops of all time, and we thought we'd hit the nail on the head and gotten everything out there, but you guys have reminded us of many more, even greater flops. Come on, Ollie, let's share a few of the submissions.
Yeah, without further ado, tech flops part 2. So, first we had a comment from Jacob Nelson, who said, flop, remember when Cannondale made motorcycles for motocross? This is a great shout, Jacob. So 20 years ago, Cannondale tried to launch an all-American motocross bike, the MX400. It was launched in 1999, but it was bereft with problems and delays, and no bike shipped until 2001. It was touted as the great all-American motocross hope.
It was meant to be the bike that would take on the great bikes of the time from Europe and Japan, but unfortunately it was a bit of a flop. Now, I'm going to read this off the page. Motocross Action magazine reviewed the bike at the time, and well, the words are quite heavy going actually. Would your dream bike be slow, heavy, complicated, unreliable, poorly suspended, and with poor handling? When you start with a blank sheet of paper, there is no one to blame but yourself. Cannondale needed to buy an eraser and start over again.
Yes.
That's a scathing review, Ollie.
It was a flop that cost Cannondale $80 million US.
Oh, it's hard to believe, isn't
Ouch. But, well, yeah, I know. But I mean, at least John Connor didn't try and escape from the T1000 aboard one. He had a Yamaha XR80. I mean, if he'd used the Cannondale, Judgment Day probably would have happened.
I thought Yamaha made keyboards.
Next up, a comment from Double Plus Good, who said, did anyone say Biopace? Loved it myself.
Really? You loved it? So Shimano Biopace, if you're not aware, they were the first commercially available oval chainrings. Oval chainrings, somewhat of a trend at the moment in the last 10 years, partly off the back of Rotor's design, which effectively took the Shimano Biopace. There's a little bit more to it than this, slightly different shape as well. Biopace was 90 degrees off, meaning you spent longer in the dead spot where you can exert the least amount of force on your pedal. Had they rotated that design 90 degrees, you would have spent longer in the power part of the stroke, putting out, you know, effectively with larger gearing, propelling yourself forwards even further, and then accelerating yourself through the dead spot. Well, I can't quite work out how they got it so wrong, but still, they did.
But it's interesting how they got it, how they were close, but yeah,
no cigar. Oh, well, what you did there.
Right, I've got a good one now. Shimano Airlines. Got this from GMBN, right? So forget hydro shifting, forget Di2, forget cables. Shimano Airlines changed gear using compressed air. Yeah, it was a mountain bike group set, but had it been successful, there probably would have been a road version.
Wow. Now I'm just looking at a picture of it there, and I remember those adverts in the back of the mountain bike magazines back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Shimano chose to develop the system because the completely sealed hoses were able to be more flexible than cable routing at the time on the long travel suspension bikes that they used back then, and also it wouldn't be affected by moisture, apparently.
Yeah, it featured a removable gas canister that you put on your top tube, safe, which was 300 centimeters cubed and reportedly good enough for up to 400 shifts. Everything was controlled by a adjustable regulator, kind of like a Di2 junction box, but for air. 400
shifts, you say, Ollie? Right, yeah. You and I rode together on the weekend, didn't we? We did just under 3 hours.
Yeah.
And because I've got a clever group set and a Wahoo on my bike, I know for a fact that I shifted 986 times.
So you would have got less than halfway.
And what? I would have been in a single speed all the way.
Well, the good news is that you could actually stop during the ride and recharge your air cylinder with a pump. So
interesting. So we only would have had to stop twice on Sunday.
Could have pumped up your gears. Yeah.
Oh, goodness me. Yeah. I don't carry a pump when I'm training. I've got tubeless these days. You imagine that? Don't carry a pump. Or could you do it with a gas canister maybe?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Ooh. The only thing I would say is that the shifting was meant to be really, really lightweight, but just like ETAP is these days, you use one lever for shifting down into a lower gear and one lever for shifting up into a higher gear.
Ahead of its time, that as well. Also, 1x. It was a bit ahead of its time. Yeah. It was a 1x7 group set, so yeah, interesting. Well, anyway, we hope you've hope you've enjoyed this look at some of the biggest tech flops, and also keep your suggestions for big tech flops coming, because we've only scratched the surface, and I think this is a topic we're going to revisit again, because it's good to look at. So let us know.
It's entertaining. In
the comments down below. Hot tech now. Is this the fastest thru axle in the world? Theo Panagiotis from Greece has sent us this clip of his invention, which he is claiming is the fastest thru axle to be inserted and removed in the world.
Now, the reason for developing this is that riders these days are quite concerned that with the standard thru axle skewer, which you have to wind all the way in, it's going to be slower than changing with a conventional quick release. And you know, they kind of got a point, haven't they?
Yeah. So the system is said to work by use of a cam lever with the axle with a sort of rod on it that then goes into a socket. The socket is a separate piece that is screwed into the dropout of the bike. So quite an interesting design.
Yeah, I'd like to see it in real life, and if it's anything like it is in that video, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Lauf may have a full suspension mixed terrain bike in the pipeline. Our friends at Bike Radar have spotted that Lauf has filed some patents pertaining to leaf spring style suspension, not just on the fork as we've seen in the past, but also in the rear triangle of the bike too.
I think it's quite a cool design, and whilst leaf springs are quite a niche item, certainly in the world of cycling suspension, they say it has some advantages over standard shocks. For a start, whilst there is less travel, it has a higher or rather a faster rebound, which sounds kind of counterintuitive to anyone from the mountain biking world, but bear with it, because gravel riding often features really frequent fast vibration sections, doesn't it?
Yeah, when I rode the Rift in Iceland, there were these sort of corrugated washboard style surfaces, and it was brilliant.
Yeah, you want the suspension to reset to zero as fast as possible for the next one, don't you? Quite like that sound effect. Right, another news, Belgian cyclocross star Toon Aert has reportedly made the switch from a 2x setup down to a 1x. It comes with a lot of controversy, obviously. The 1x, 2x battle kind of continues to emerge, but you would imagine, this is off the back of his problems that he had in Hammer, a really dirty race a couple of weeks ago. Apparently, there are many advantages to running a 1x setup in a really dirty cyclocross race.
Yeah, well, if you say so, Chris, I'm not going to pretend to be any kind of expert.
But Jeremy taught you how to ride cross, Ollie.
And finally, if you're after a bargain, then head over to the GCN shop, because tomorrow is Black Friday. Well, it is tomorrow if you're watching this on Thursday.
The day before Friday.
It goes out, yes. We've got loads of great offers on because of Black Friday, including this new limited edition merch. So if you want to look like a SWAT team officer on your day off, like Chris,
I'm not sure what you mean, Ollie. It's our contrast range, and it's available at an introductory offer until December the 4th. I'm reliably informed that right now it's time for Snack of the Week, which is a feature that I've never heard of before.
It's the best. It's great. We've been sent this letter and these snacks from Dr. Jarvis and his son Jesper, who live in Munich in Germany. Big fans of the tech show, and when young Jesper found these super nice biscuits in the local supermarket, he had to send them in. P.S. Can Ollie do them and say hello in his best German accent?
This is Ollie's best English reading, so I'm looking forward to the German accent.
Well, Jesper und Jarvis, diese Kekse sind super nett, aber mein Lieblingsschnack ist eine Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte. Do you want to have some snacks?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh. Cheers, more snacks, hopefully, next week.
Cha-ching!
It's now time for Screw Riding Upgrades by Upgrades, where you submit evidence of your upgrades that you've made to your bikes or equipment for a chance to win the ultimate prize, GCN Camp.
Yeah, now, before we get into this week's, I just wanted to share this picture of young Ben, who is really happy with some purchases he's made for his bikes, and I wanted to share the sort of ecstasy that these purchases have brought him. Ben, pictured here with some new disc brake pads, and if you look at the size of those pads, he must be running some hefty rotors on his road bike. They're clearly pads for a 4-pot caliper, so I'm guessing you've put some sort of mountain bike caliper on your road bike, Ben.
He looks thrilled.
He looks really happy,
He looks
doesn't he?
really happy with himself.
Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you all so that you can all kind of feel the sort of happiness that a purchase can bring you.
Yeah, so as ever, submit your entries using the app. But don't worry if the app's not available in your country yet. A few of you just let us know in the comments about that. It's on the way, and we're told by the app squad that it should be ready by January.
They're calling themselves a squad now, are they?
I'm calling them that. In the meantime, if you don't have the app in your country or region, just continue to use the uploader.
Yep, it's down in the description.
It's okay. Now, 2 weeks ago, we had Hugh's gravel bike versus Hannah's wooden bike. Opie and Hank last week, they forgot to announce the winner.
We got so carried away with the party, Ollie.
Can you believe that? Chris, can you believe... Chris, can you believe that? 100.
I'm sorry.
So the winner was overwhelmingly Hannah's. Massive win, and sorry for mispronouncing your name, as many people pointed out.
And sorry again for not awarding you the prize.
Yeah, in the comment section, it's Hannah's, not Hans. Anyway,
last week we had Jeff's White Heart and Galac's Fixie. Well, they're technically both Fixies. It was another landslide victory, wasn't it? Going in favour of Galac with a whopping 88% of that vote. That's incredible, isn't it? Well done to both of you. The caps are on their way. Let's get on to this week, shall we?
Yes, so it's this week, starting out with Simon, who says it's okay to call him Simon. Because he's from Poland, lives in Germany. Simon is a mechanical engineer. Now, having been inspired by both GCN channels, he decided to make his own build. He didn't have a road bike, he decided he wanted to build one. He acquired a Kinesis UK alloy frame set.
Very nice.
Yeah, and a carbon fork. It's in a beautiful red colour. He got it for €130. That's an absolute steal, isn't it? Brilliant. And there was, a lot of parts missing. So he added a Shimano 105 group set, and he continued sort of an eBay bargain hunt for all the other bits, but he's done incredibly well there. I mean, he's assembled all the bits, put it together, from nothing. And he also says he managed to keep the price for under €1,000.
Nice.
And under 9 kilograms of weight. Fair play. And I think we've got to give him bonus points here for putting a Bavarian beverage Radler in his bottle cages.
Sounds nice, that.
Yeah,
refreshing.
That's good. And because we did 3D printed tech show stuff in episode 97 and we did our 3D scan, he's decided to show off. He couldn't resist, and so he's made his own 3D scan of his bike. For what reason, I don't know, but it's good. We always like,
if you can,
creative evidence of your upgrades. He's done that. Here's a GIF of his 3D scan of his bike.
You see who he's up against this week, Ollie?
Yeah.
Come on then. Steve and his Lightspeed Titanium Classic from New York, USA. Decided to buy a new bike and bought a Cervelo R5 frame set. The Lightspeed Classic, though, going back to that one, had that satin finish, and as such, it had a rather dull appearance. He always envied the Lightspeed owners who had the slightly brushed or polished frames.
Yeah, it shows off the titanium.
It does, doesn't it?
Nicest way,
although, you know what? I prefer the flat finish myself.
All right.
On a whim, he contacted Lightspeed and asked if they could brush the frame up to make it look like new. They replied and said that they could, in fact, provide that service for a fee if he paid for the shipping to Chattanooga in Tennessee, USA. So off the frame went after taking all the components off. 3 weeks later, it came back.
And I love the head badge on it as well.
Yeah.
And as he says, you don't see many head badges like that anymore. And Lightspeed restuck that head badge on. I think that looks great.
Yeah, the head badge has kind of died a bit of a death, hasn't it, Ollie?
Yeah, titanium bikes, they do hold a special place. But yeah, that's...
Well, it'll never get old, will it?
No, I have to say, it looks fantastic. And I love that he's put the new Ultegra on there. That's, it's a great group set. But I do miss his old bar tape. That old bar tape he had on in the first picture, I think that looks amazing. And I love how the yellow matches the Lightspeed yellow logo.
Cork bar tape. It's not up to us to decide, is it, Ollie? Where are they going to vote?
It's not.
Vote up there, above your left ear.
They are. Bikevolt time now. You submit pictures of your bike using the app, if it's available in your country at the moment. If it hasn't, then it's arriving soon, hopefully in January. And we judge them to be nice or super nice. What happens if they're super nice, Chris?
They're super nice, Ollie. They get a
Yeah. Now, I don't know about you, Chris, but I'm in a good mood this week. I think anyone that hasn't submitted their bike to the Bikevolt this week is going to regret that they didn't, because I think there's going to be a lot of super nices.
Ooh, well, in that case, Ollie, I better give you the power of the bell.
It's all right. You can still ring the bell.
Happy with that.
Anyhow, first up, we have
Cervelo Soloist.
Shaheed. Yes, a Cervelo Soloist. I love this bike.
Yeah.
Sastra's sort of. I was thinking Sastra winning.
Well, it's the first real aero carbon road bike, isn't it?
Yeah. I believe it was aluminium, wasn't it? The Soloist as well. I think it was aluminium. Anyway, I like those Rolf Prima wheels on there with the very low spoke count. They look really cool. I like the look of those.
Yeah, I love that. The low spoke count. Deep drop bars.
Yeah.
That lever shape, very, very comfortable.
I love that he's got the matching CSC bottle. Yeah. Authentic. And he's ticking the boxes, isn't he? We've got Biggie, almost smalls, crank in the right position. He's sort of lined.
I thought you were going to start talking about rap music.
I think that's a super nice.
It's a super nice. Well, it is. It's such a beautiful colour, isn't it?
Yeah.
Coupled with the eagle's wing there as well.
Yeah. Right, next up, Derny Rider, and he's got a Look R96 track bike. What do you think of that?
That's just ridiculous. Like, that's another level of bicycle.
It's a weapon, isn't it?
It's got an SRM track on there for a start. Mavic.
Yeah.
Do they still call them the Comets?
Yeah, and the speed. He's got speed plays as well.
And the frame, that headset, the bars. It's
Physique Arione.
the shape of those bars.
We can forgive that it's not in 3 o'clock position. I think because it's a track bike, it's a fixie, so it becomes a bit more awkward. And that is such an incredible.
It is. Look at the size of that chainring. Does it say what size the chainring is? Because that looks like it's probably
like a 60.
58.
68.
63 tooth fibre lights.
Oh God.
I hope that's a 19 on the back.
Yeah. I hope that's because you are an absolute weapon and not just.
Even if you're not a weapon, your bike is a weapon.
Yeah.
Come on.
Super nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Right.
That is amazing.
Next up.
Ooh, classy.
What do you make of that, Chris?
It's a Genesis, isn't it, Ollie?
It's a Volare.
Yeah.
Very classy.
Actually, it looks really cool with the those wheels, those sidewalls.
Velo Flex tires.
I'll never forget when those bikes first came out and the team had all the riders ride them. Because they were loud.
Madison Genesis.
Yeah. Because the cables would rattle against the down tube and you'd be riding along. Of course, everyone else had internal cable routing and their cables would be ding, 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 ding.
Quite unconventional at the time. This was in the British domestic racing scene.
2012, 13, something
all
like
the
that.
other teams were on carbon bikes. Madison Genesis, Volares.
But they look really cool. I think they're a beautiful looking frame. Pictures taken well lit, best looking crankset of all time.
It's got egg beaters on there as well, I like that.
Can't beat them.
Yes. Oh, it's a super nice. Next up, we have got Haylock, 1974. He's been riding around Rutland with his sturdy cycles.
Nice part of the UK, Rutland.
Titanium bike, 3D printed lugs on there.
Very clean.
Oh, look at that. We saw some of those at the Bespoke Bike Show. They're very, very nice bikes.
Ball cage is nice, aren't they?
They look like those mental ones that Si saw at Eurobike a couple of years ago. They were like, I don't know, like 3 grams. But they look really clean, don't they, against that concrete wall?
And also with the wireless group set, it looks really sleek. Everything's just very clean. It's just neat, tidy.
I like that there's no logos on it.
Yeah, I do as well, actually.
I like that. And he's lined up the tyres and everything. God, they're doing well this week, aren't they?
Yes. Right, what do you reckon?
High quality submissions. I mean, excellent work this week. And we've got another one here. This is from
Dimitar Pashev.
Yes. Well, anyway, he's got his first road bike here with a full Shimano RSX group set on there.
Another iconic group set.
First group set, an old Trek.
Nice classic lines.
Beautiful classic bike.
I like the contrast.
First road bike.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the contrast of the colours against the background.
Looks like a sort of wintry evening scene.
It does,
in
doesn't
that
it?
photo. Curious, it looks like something on fire in the background.
Valves lined up, Ollie. I know you're a big fan of that.
Yes, I mean your chain's a bit dirty, but we appreciate that you've bought this bike second hand.
Chains didn't ever used to be as silver as they are these days. It could just be that that's the colour it gets.
Yes, I think that's an excellent retro-looking bike and a great first bike.
Yeah.
And glad to have you on board.
Come on then, what do you reckon?
Oh, it's a super nice. So, one more entry this week. I think it could be a clean sweep of super nices this week. I mean, has this ever happened before?
Yes, last week.
I'm not on my watch. This is incredible scenes. I mean, we've had such amazing submissions. What have we got next?
It's a Parley,
It's
Ollie.
Nick with his Parley ESX. Oh.
What's wrong, Ollie?
What's right with it? What's he done? I mean, it's just, it's such a nice bike. I used to have a Parley ESX.
Right.
I loved it. I sold it. In some ways, I wish I hadn't. It's a great bike. But why has he photographed it? I mean, I despair. He's photographed it on the wrong side. What is weird angle? There's just like what gears it in? The cranks, the wheels are all over the place.
Oh.
What's that big light on the back?
It's a light.
I know, but I just.
Well, are we going super nice on
That's
that?
a nice.
A nice.
It's a nice.
Hey, if it was me alone, that would have been super
Nearly
nice.
had a clean sweep as well. Anyway.
You know how to get your bikes on here though, don't you?
Yeah. Use the app if it's available in your region.
And if not, you can use the uploader, which is in the description below.
Well, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for this week. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and if you have, then please give it a thumbs up. And also, if you'd like to support the channel and the content we make, then you can do by subscribing.
And for more great content right now, why don't you click on Ollie's chest?
Or down there on Chris
Yeah,
as
that
well.
works as well.
Yeah.